Hey yo, what is up? It's time for that reaction video for the Object 274A, the latest tank to drop in the Polar winter missions. Now, as usual in my reaction videos, I like to bring you the first games that I play, but this is actually my fourth game. And the reason why I did that is because I was experimenting. Well, I wasn't experimenting. I thought I hit it the first time correctly. I did my first game with IRM with improved aim and a rammer, and that didn't work out at all because the mobility was absolutely horrendous. The game after that, I tried a different setup, which was a turbo, a vertical stabilizer and a rammer. Now that game I enjoyed, and it turned out okay, but I in the end settled for this equipment, which is turbo, improved aim and rammer, and I played the last two games with this, and I felt like this is the best setup for me so far, and I will explain to you in a minute why. This is what the Object 274A looks like out of the box. Reload time is absolutely horrendous, 8.63 seconds, but it does have a 320 alpha gun, 420 if you manage to pen with the HE. Penetration is absolutely amazing as well, 227 on the standard AP shells, and a 289 penetration, very high penetration on APCR premium shells. It does suck a little bit in gun depression, only 6 degrees of gun depression. And on the right, you're going to see the stats that I have with my crew and the loadout that I have on right now. Because I have the turbo on, the power to weight ratio has improved from the 7.26 to 18.80, and this means the traverse is a little bit quicker than the standard 46.94 degrees. Now I could have played this situation here a lot better. Didn't need to take so much damage, but I kept, you know, I'm aiming at something else shows up, and for nothing I took damage. But that's besides the point. I'm not here to criticize my own game. I'm here to tell you about the tank. The aim time on this tank, 2.42 seconds with what I have now, and look at the difference in gun dispersion, 0.32 versus the stock 0.36. That's the problem with this gun. This tank is like a heavy tank gun in a medium tank chassis. You know what I mean? It's like a slow heavy tank. So that is why I have the turbo, and that is why I have the improved aim. The improved aim to reduce the dispersion. I also run food. When you run food, it brings your dispersion down by 0.02, and then when you run the improved aim, another 0.02. That is why I have the 0.32 dispersion versus the 0.36 stock. The moving dispersion as well has improved slightly that's because I've got BIA and snapshot and, you know, some cruise skills. Now what is also I have overlooked in the 4 games that I played is the camouflage values. You can see my camouflage values, 34.29, fully kitted out with BIA, with paint, with camouflage crew. This is about the same camouflage as a T-44-100, which is the tank we are competing against. We're definitely competing against the T-44-100, which is arguably the best single shot tier 8 premium tank, and the CS52 LIS, which is also one of the best single shot premium tanks. Now we've done a little bit of damage, 1600. This is a tier 9 matchup. I'm trying to coax my teammates to push on the 1-2 line, you know, take a hit, and we finish off that 257. I can hide behind the buildings and then advance from that position, but I'm waiting so long for the tier 9s to respond or to do anything. We are already 5 tanks to 1. We are up by 4 tanks. This is a no-brainer. We should be playing this a little bit more aggressive, but I am in a tier 8, and in tier 8 matchups, in tier 8 games, where you are not top tier, you can't be that Rambo guy. So I'm sitting at the back and I am waiting for the tier 9s to make the plays, and I will play according to how I will respond according to how they play. Now, of course, the this tank compared to a T44-100, it's really no match. I had higher hopes for this tank. I was hoping that this would be a T44-100 kind of like match, but instead it performs not as good as a T44-100 in my opinion. T44-100, obviously, even with the stock stats, you can see power to weight ratio a lot better. Now, even though T44-100 does not have the speed, top speed of a of the Object 274A, if you looked at my speed earlier on when I just spawned into the game, I never reached that promised 63 kilometers an hour top speed with the turbo. I hardly reached 58 kilometers an hour when I was flying down the 1-2 line when I just spawned, and this is with turbo. So even with turbo on and with the improved power to weight ratio, you still cannot match a T44-100. The agility of the T44-100 with the 22.69 power to weight ratio, it can get to the 52 kilometers an hour top speed fairly quickly, and it is a very agile tank. Versus the 274A, or later we're going to talk about compare this with the CS52. Very low power to weight ratio means it's slow to get to the top speed. It is slow to traverse. Even in a stock configuration, you can see the traverse speed is 47 degrees per second versus the T44-100, which was something like 53 degrees per second. This compared with the CS52. Now the CS52 looks like it is in terms of agility, seems to be less agile than the CS52. The CS52 has a 19.69 power to weight ratio versus this has 17.26. Now the CS obviously reloads like half a second slower than the Object 274A, but look at the gun dispersion of the CS52, 0.34 or 0.35 stock. If you improve the accuracy slightly, either with improved aim or with vertical stabilizers or IRM, you're gonna see it having a better aim, slightly better performance in terms of gun handling versus the Object 274A. Also, if you look at the CS52, the moving dispersion, that is the hull dispersion, and the turret moving dispersion, 0.13 and 0.08, significantly better than the 274A, which means that CS52 will fire on the move a lot better than the Object 274A. What is good about the 274A? We would say there is nothing. There is no redeeming qualities that would make the 274A better in any way. Overall, it is not a bad tank. It is not a terrible tank. But does it have anything special? Example versus the T44-100, which has incredible agility and gun handling. The 274A does not have incredible agility, does not have incredible gun handling, does not have incredible armor. It is kind of like a jack of all trades kind of medium tank. It has no redeeming qualities that make it stand out, make it better than a CS52 or make it better than a T44-100. Now if I were to rate all these tanks, I would definitely rate the 274A behind the CS52, definitely behind the T44-100. In fact, in third position is I would normally put the Lanson C as in third position. I think even the Lanson C might be a better choice over the 274A, but that is debatable. But in my opinion, I definitely would prefer a T44-100 and a CS52. The CS52 and T44-100 are very closely matched in terms of likability. I think a lot of people who like the CS52 also like the T44-100, but I can't say that for the 274A. Is this tank worth grinding though? Is it worth grinding for the winter marathon? Yes, it is worth grinding. Is it worth grinding 100%? Is it worth all your time to invest? That is questionable. I think if you really want this tank, maybe try to get a 50%, 60% discount, and that is fine. But in terms of performance, I'm going to rate the CS52 and the T44-100 much better than the Object 274. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.